We can make up a third part.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
We do it again.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
I see where it breaks it up, so it's not. Yeah, I like that.
Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
Yeah, does that sound okay?
That way it's not like, then it helps us.
I get it because I feel like it needs that extra part. Well, and it's, I mean, I haven't done choirs since, like, but I love it. Like, I'm like, oh, it's muscle memory. Like, it's just going with it.
Actually, how does the song start?
Okay, yeah, now I can't remember either. Well, and see, I'm so used to following your lead where I'm like, okay, so let's go to minute 7. Yeah. We're like, oh crap, I was following you.
We'll get lost again.
You know what? It'll like unfold. Okay.
Yeah, I'll say that a lot.
What note is that? So I'll do the first part.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. And then I got that part there too, where you should get. I got it memorized right there.
Okay, right there. So we're okay. So like when we shift into the second. Okay.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.
I feel it. I'm like, Krishna's got the rest. I'm like, Krishna's got us all. That's what's beautiful. It's like when it just flows, it will just flow. It will flow.
I'll see you when you're ready to go. Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Padaya, Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami. Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Padaya,
Hare Hare Namaste Narashri Maya.
Namaste Narashri Maya.
Vaksha yami tato nashrimo. Yato yami tato nashrimo. Bahir nashrimo hiraye nashrimo. Bahir nashrimo hiraye nashrimo. Nara Singha Madim Sharanam Papade. 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 Nara Singha Madim Srimade Bhagavan Ki Jai, Maharaj Ki Jai, Kaigo Premanandi, Hari 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 Bo.
BYT Ki Jai.
Jai.
Just a footnote that part of the Nishringa prayers that we were singing over and over again, Nishringamadim Saranam Prapadaya. Translated, that means Nishringamadim, the original person. Saranam Prapadaya, I take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev, the original shelter. Something like that.
To that I say, Narashinga Madim Saranam.
Okay, so.
That's what you get when you listen to read out those lectures.
Okay, so now we'll start class. Hare Krishna. Can you collect these? Can you collect them and put them in the...
Thank you.
You get it? Okay, so what we need to do, put in the oven on 400, and then get the water to boil, and
big pub?
Yeah, a big pub. And then probably about 15 minutes before class ends, I have you put the spaghetti in and put the bread in and put it in the microwave oven.
So 400 just basically preheating, pour the bread in, boil the pot, and then like 15 minutes before, basically 15 minutes before we do that. You know what, I'm gonna try it out. Like, get me up with your
This is retailer.
Oh, Jenny. Jenny. Do not forget this.
All politics, everything that's going because
It's already boiled. Okay, then.
so it's just been all. Well, all right. Well, I'll ask Carl and Brian if he's up to reading this. And you can't do it. Well, I'm not sure about that. It's not that old. This was came out in 24.
That's it. You can continue on your practice until those things ready to grasp before you move the word. Yes, what's the problem?
In the oven. I mean, in the microwave.
How are you?
So good to see you.
Good to see you. Been a while now. How many months went by?
We thought we ran you off somehow.
Busy life.
I know.
Oh, how many months it's been?
At least it's Christmas time.
I think so.
Yeah,
I thought I was
Christmas.
selling ball rock.
Yeah.
I think he gave me the Gita. I said, I guess that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Time flies.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, but it's good. Thank you for coming.
The sauce is boiling already. I turned it down a little bit to simmer.
Yeah.
I'm actually watching the and I gotta tell you, since he's not a brother from your own, I've been listening to him. I won't hurt you.
This is the well, is that it wasn't like dry and stuff.
Very close, yeah.
Wait a minute. I don't want to interrupt you, but I am interrupting.
So good to see you.
Obviously.
David,
I was telling
did you bring my purse? I left it in the car.
your son. I thought we ran you off somehow.
What?
I thought we ran you
Oh,
off.
God, no. I told him. No. You know, I was, you need to prepare for that, and I'm talking.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Well, no, it was, I told you I was here.
well, that's good.
And,
I hope he stays.
but I was here, but I was here because I wanted to see and investigate, sort of. I just was curious. And at the time that I
It's David, right?
I became very satisfied.
I just want to
I
make
was
sure.
very happy with who you are, with everything I saw. I liked it a
Unless you want to try
lot.
to remember
And
Kentucky.
I started going back to the Catholic Church because that's tradition, and my husband would go with me. And, but during that time, I felt the connection with David and my son. And so I just called him up and I said, David, let's make a commitment to go to this. And he said, yeah.
It looks similar to the
And you know, it's just another phase of my development. And what I think that I was so much Hinduism really and is its openness. Is that we're not here, you can't do this, you can't go here, you can't come to us and the openness is pure love. It's unconditional love. That's everything. And I know that. I knew that before, but I didn't know it was here. So it's really the greatest.
Yeah, thank you for being a part, and I'm glad we didn't run you off. So.
No way. I didn't want you to feel bad about that. I shouldn't have told you because I know I was I didn't say anything, but it just so happened I didn't feel the need, and I'm sorry I let you feel the need.
I'm glad to see.
But it's really wonderful. Lots of money for you in the left wing, which is I don't know where.
It's okay, don't worry about it. Maybe later.
But I'll get it to Bob. Does he see you during the week?
Sometimes.
Well, I will. Anyway, I just want to help you.
Thank you.
And so, you know,
No, that's just like.
do you have my phone number?
I don't, but before you leave, can I get it?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me gather everybody so we can start. Hare Krishna. Start it. Hare start it. Okay.
I saw you.
4 months ago.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, Hare Krishna. All right. So we'll start. We are on the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yay!
So it's in for a while.
Yes, yes. So,
No more.
okay. So as a little summary to help bridge chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita to chapter 14. There's a little synopsis. It says the key to connecting chapter 13 to chapter 14 in the Bhagavad Gita is the text. The living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of material nature. This is due to his association with material nature. Thus, he meets...
Christian David?
Yes?
I apologize, but could you start again? I couldn't hear.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, it's a hard time hearing.
It's okay. It's okay. All right.
What page are we on?
So, you have the hard copy? Is that the hard book? Chapter 14. Is anybody on text 1?
567.
567.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The three modes of material nature.
So, interestingly enough, actually the concept of the three modes and the modes of material nature were brought up in the 3rd chapter, and just Krishna briefly mentions it, just very briefly mentions it, and kind of sprinkles it throughout the entire Bhagavad Gita until we get to actually the 14th chapter, where Krishna actually goes in extreme depth on what are the modes of material nature, how do they affect us, where do they come from, how is the soul even perceiving it or associating with it, and ultimately how to get free. So this, yes?
Srila Prabhupada used to explain that Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual science, and chapter 14 illustrates that science very well.
And so we'll get into the science of it right now, actually. So there's a nice little 2 paragraphs that help us blend the concepts from chapter 13 and chapter 14 together. So the key verse in connecting chapter 13 to chapter 14 is the text from the from chapter 13, text 22, where it says, "The living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the 3 modes of nature. Thus, this is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species." Chapter 13 described the conditioned soul as distinct from material nature, yet entangled by it, trapped within his field of activities. Chapter 14 reveals in detail how the living entity is limited and controlled within his particular field by the powerful shackles of material nature, passion, and ignorance. At the end, informs us how to attain freedom from these modes. Okay. So text chapter 14, text 1. Okay. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Parambuya Parvakshyami. Jnananam Munya Sarve. Param Siddhim Ito Gata. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Parambuya Parvakshyami. Jnanam Uttamam. Yajgyatva Munya Sarve. Param Siddhim Ito Gata. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Parambuya Parvakshyami. Jnanam Uttamam. Yajgyatva Munya Sarve. Param Siddhim Ito Gata.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Parambuya Parvakshyami.
Parambuya Parvakshyami.
Jnanam Uttamam. Yajgyatva Munya Sarve. Param Siddhim Ito Gata.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Parambuya Pravakshyami.
Parambuya Pravakshyami.
Jnanam
Cold?
Uttamam.
Jnanam Uttamam.
Yajñatva Munaya Sarve.
Yajñatva Munaya Sarve.
It's cold. Cold. Keith.
She's cold. She has a
Yajñatva Munaya Sarve. Param Siddhim Ito Gata.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Parambuya Parvakshaya.
Bharuya Paravakshami
Gnanam gnanam uttamam
Yanam Yana Uttamam
yajnatva munaya sarve
Yajnatva Munasarve
param sathim ito gatam
Param Siddhim Ito Gata
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Param Bhuya Parvakshami
Parambuya Pavakshami
Yananam Yanam Uttamam
Yananam Gyanam Uttamam
Yajnava Munasarve
Yajñatva Munasarve
Param Siddhim Ito Gata
Param Siddhim Ito Gata. Okay, so we'll do the word for word. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Param, transcendental, Bhuya, again, Parakshami, I shall speak, Gyananam, of all knowledge, Gyanam, knowledge, Uttamam, the Supreme, Yat, Gyatva, knowing, the sages, Sarve, all, Param, transcendental, Siddhim, perfection, Ita, from this world, Gata, attained. So the translation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead again said, again, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all sages have attained supreme perfection. Let's start with 2 sentences each. Max, do you mind reading 2 sentences?
Report. From the 7th chapter to the end of the 12th chapter, Sri Krishna in detail reveals the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, himself is further enlightening Arjuna.
Philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service. In the 13th chapter, it was clearly explained that by humbly developing knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material.
It has also been explained with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Now, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation.
The knowledge explained in this chapter is claimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to the knowledge given so far in the other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attain perfection and transfer to this fruity world.
The Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. This knowledge is far, far superior to all other processes of knowledge thus far explained, and knowing this, many attain perfection.
Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, I'm sorry.
Though it is expanded that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection.
Thank you. Okay. So there's a couple commentaries that I want to share, and then we'll go a little deeper into this, because as I mentioned, it explains that he's already said this before, but to give knowledge which is even more beneficial to us. So the first commentary is Krishna uses the word bhuya again to indicate that he will repeat the knowledge he mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 13:22, how this knowledge is the best of all knowledge. Srila Baladeva Vibhusana explains Krishna's words, again I will speak a kind of knowledge different from what I've spoken so far. It deals specifically with the 3 modes of material nature. It is the best of all kinds of knowledge, about Prakriti or material nature and the living entity, the jiva, and how it resembles a distillation of yogurt from milk. Realizing this knowledge and meditating on it thoughtfully, all great sages attained in this very world correct perception of the Supreme Self. The proper use of intelligence is to understand spiritual truths. Usually, this is commenting on Srila Prabhupada's commentary. He says Srila Prabhupada decrees philosophical speculation because it generally used as a process to cover the absolute understanding of divinity. Through speculation, one tries to understand God. And says, in his purport, Srila Prabhupada invites the reader to engage in philosophical speculation. Here, philosophical speculation refers to hearing from bona fide sources or authentic scriptures, and then using one's intelligence to understand what has been heard. And then the next verse, Krishna glorifies that knowledge which is to be explained later in this chapter. And last week I introduced this Living Gita, which is becoming my actual favorite read because of how well the commentator, Prabhupada Priya, how well she really weaves the verses together into different topics to help the reader, ourselves, understand deeper and levels. So she names this verse and next verse as rising above it all as the topic. She says, so commentary, we need to pay close attention to this chapter because Krishna is saying that this knowledge we can perfect. With this knowledge, we can perfect our lives and regain our eternal nature, spiritual nature. And she also references chapter 13, text 22. Krishna said that our attachment to the modes, to these ropes of material nature, is what is keeping us stuck in this material world. To get out of this material predicament, we must free ourselves from the influences of the modes. This is what Krishna has been urging Arjuna to do from the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. In text 245, where he says, O Arjuna, rise above these material modes, above dualities. Be situated always in pure goodness, in the spiritual self. Now finally, he is going to give practical advice on how to do such a thing. If we apply this knowledge, we too can understand or transcend the modes of material nature, just like the great saints in the bygone ages. We can come to share the same transcendental nature as Krishna. This does not mean that we will become God or even equal to God, since we are quantitatively smaller than him. We are constitutionally his eternal servants. We will always be subordinate to Godhead. Yet despite of our minuteness, we can still please the Lord by our sincere devotion. And by the Lord's grace, we can rise above the modes of material nature. In that glorious transcendental position, we fully realize that, like God, we are eternal, spiritual, conscious beings, no longer identifying with anything material. We will not be affected by material events such as creation and annihilation of the material world, which are enacted by the modes. Just as a person flying in an airplane above the clouds is not affected by the rain beneath the clouds. So this chapter, before I go any further, does anybody remember what the word guna means? Guna.
The gunas are the modes of nature.
Qualities. Or sometimes they're explained as ropes.
Explained as what?
Ropes. Ropes. And those ropes are, there are three ropes. The rope of goodness, the rope of passion, and the rope of ignorance. And these are called the three gunas. So these ropes are essentially the impressions, or excuse me, these ropes are how the soul perceives everything within reality. And when we are without the knowledge of these very subtle influences, we are easily entangled within the ropes because we can't see them. We can't see these influences. But if we understand what they are and where they come from, then we can understand, okay, this may be beneficial to my spiritual nature, or this may be detrimental. Understanding what is detrimental and what is beneficial, it allows us deeper into our relationship with God. Just like if we understand what is good for our health, then we will try to do our best when we have the proper intelligence to do what's the best for our health, which means maybe exercising, eating properly,